Okay, I thought I'd make a little bit of a short video on OBS Studio at this stage, because this is actually kind of key to how this whole pipeline will work. A, because of how I've set it up, B, because of what I'm going to want to do with it in the future. And I think understanding this, what it can do, if you're looking to do something like this, is worth knowing about it. So what is OBS Studio? Essentially, its primary function for me is recording the screen, but recording the screen and recording webcam as well. As you can see, because I've checked the setting that says hide OBS Studio while you're recording, I've unchecked that. You're seeing a recording of OBS Studio. So a bit trippy. I apologize. We're going to take a look around and change some stuff. But I want to show you how I've set this up. So if you want to do something similar, you can. Why use this? So there's plenty of other options. I've used Camtasia even on this channel. 10 years ago, I made a whole course on Camtasia, long deleted. It was out of date anyway. So I know Camtasia really well, although I used that more on PC. I didn't have a Mac back at the time. Mac has a similar app, ScreenFlow, same kind of beast as Camtasia. It's a nicer UI. OBS is a bit clunkier. But I actually don't think OBS is that hard. Both ScreenFlow and Camtasia are giving you a video editing environment. So once you're done recording, it will give you what's called NLE, non-linear editing environment. So you can go, oh, chop this, chop this, chop this, chop this. I used to use it all the time. So like when I was doing videos 15 years ago, like this, I'm screen recording something, whether it was PowerPoint, some web app, whatever, and then I would go in Camtasia and go chop out mistakes, all the rest of it. So this is kind of like almost an evolution of what I was doing 15 years ago, because this whole project and this whole process is to do away with any of that editing. I'm running on the assumption or the belief that I can actually do a lot of that video editing job automatically. And if you've watched all the videos up till now, you can see I've done pretty well at getting most of this working. So when I decided, okay, I'm going to start YouTube up again, I'm like, okay, what's the best technology to do screen recording now? As I say, I'm very experienced in Camtasia, ScreenFlow. Nothing against either of them. One problem with Camtasia is I did get problems with crashing. So it could record and then occasionally I'd lose streams, and it's so frustrating. And it would be for this as well, because of course, because I'm working and showing you what I'm doing. If I lose that, I'm like, I've almost got to rewind what I'm doing and start again, which I'm not going to do. So it'll be like, sorry guys, here's what I coded in the last 40-minute segment, you missed it. So reliable technology is really key. And as I say, Camtasia crashed a few times, not a lot, but sometimes, and then you lose your recording. So one of the ways to prevent that being too big of a problem is having the screen recorder record in a format that, even if it crashes, what's recorded up to the crash is recoverable. And there's video formats that can do that, where you can go, oh, okay, I only got 30 minutes. Let's use that. So OBS does pretty well at that. I don't want the NLE. I don't want to edit. So I'm like, I want to get away from that. I'm trying to reduce and enable all of this to happen automatically, which is the whole purpose of this project. OBS is actually more powerful, I believe, than both ScreenFlow and Camtasia in terms of what you can set up with it. It's very, very powerful. I won't be using anywhere near all of its full features. And then over and above kind of ScreenFlow and Camtasia, you've got a whole bunch of new products that have arrived on the scene over the last decade. Things like StreamYard is another one, forget the name of it, but they are much more geared towards people who really have a show, like Twitch streamers, gamers that want kind of nice overlays, you know, where they've got their webcam feed, the game effects, all that's great. Like, I'm not against all that, but I don't want to stream. I want to get recordings out, and then I want to process them through this thing, and then get things that are kind of halfway between a stream-like quality, but have good editing principles applied in terms of what a video editor would do, what I used to do in post-production, if you like, to add bumpers, cut out bad bits of the video. So that's kind of where I'm trying to focus. So again, waffling. OBS. So OBS, you set it up really all down the bottom, and then this kind of repeating babushka doll of video you're seeing here is my preview of what's on screen. So if I switch on screen now, you can see it's recording what's on screen. But try and focus just down the bottom and ignore this, you know, vortex of paint up here. So the way you set it up is you add sources. So sources is like, what do you want to record? What do you want in your video? And I've added 4 things. So if you install OBS, start it up, this will be blank. So I'm like, well, let's start with the obvious one, the screen. So the first thing I want to record is the whole screen. This was a bit challenging for me. I'd never done this on a Mac before. But of course, the resolution on a Mac is really high, like almost 4K. It's not quite 4K, but it almost is. So I'm like, I want to capture a 4K signal from the Mac, but then the videos I'm going to output at 1080p. I'm not going to output 4K videos. So I needed to do a little bit of tweaking around for that. That's not actually in here. So you can see it's going, okay, I'm going to capture the display. It's your main built-in display. I don't know why that's saying 1728. Doesn't really matter. Cursor, I want to see the cursor. I want you guys to be able to see the cursor. I want the cursor bigger, actually. I wonder if there's a plugin I can get for that. And then this one, hide OBS from capture. That's what I have checked most of the time. So you're not seeing this feed of, you know, the OBS interface. That will go back on for the next video. So that gets the screen in the capture. Next thing, webcam. So you can see their webcam MacBook. That's just my webcam in the MacBook. Now, I've actually got another camera. I've got 2 cameras. I want to start using those. So I've got a Sony a7R III, real super high quality. I've got a cam link adapter that will take the HDMI out of the camera and turn it into a USB feed, so I could use that as a webcam, and it'll be way higher quality. As I've got into this, I'm actually not sure how much I'll do that, because it's really important for me that I can just sit wherever I am and hit record and get a video out. So like you can see already, like I'm outside on my deck. I was doing one on my sofa last night. I've done one in my office. It's very, very important for me that there's no impediments to me recording content. And having to fuck around with, oh, I've got to set the camera up, oh, it's the battery's not charged, the power adapter's not charged, the tripod, I've moved elsewhere. All of that is a massive slowdown on, I just want to work. So I'm not sure how much I'm actually going to use that. It would make my video quality higher, but for the moment, I'm like, webcam's fine. Let me just talk about, in fact, I'll go through the other bits and then I'll come back to settings, because obviously I've done some stuff to the webcam. And then audio. So you've got 2 audio sources. First is system audio from the MacBook. So that's like, if I play a video, if the operating system goes ding, that is that audio source. It's separate from my voice, which is the microphone. So that's this one, mic MacBook. So I'm separately getting the audio from the computer and the audio from the MacBook. You got 4 sources. You got 2 video sources, screen and webcam, audio, mic, and system. There is a problem which I haven't fixed yet. I need to Google it. In the what you'll have heard on some of the previous videos is if I play like a video on the computer, that's system audio. But then because it's coming out the speakers, the mic's picking up and you're getting this reverberation effect. Easy fix. I wear headphones. That's the obvious thing. Maybe I'll have to do that, but I'm going to try not to do too much playback of audio and just keep it to me or system sound. Okay, let's talk about a few tweaks, having added all these. So webcam's probably what I've done the most on. So if you click a source, right click, there's a couple of things. So, and essentially it's filters and properties. So if I go to properties, so this is going to change the quality of the webcam feed. So I've got it on high. I may jack this up. I need to play with this because I do want this getting high quality, but I think the quality problem is more about how the overall video is set up to record, which I'll show you later. But that's the controls you've got under properties, and each of these options has got that properties menu where there are things you may or may not want to change depending on your setup. The other thing is filters. So this is where it gets powerful. So if you see filters here, you can see I've got 3 on the webcam. So first is this circle mask. So I am applying a mask to put me in a round circle. Simple as that. So if I turn that off, there you go. That's what that does. This is nothing more than an image of a white circle on a black background in HD widescreen size. You can get that off the internet. If you comment on this video, I'll upload it. I searched Google, found a low-res one. Wasn't very good. Made my own in Photoshop. And that will get you the circle effects. Obviously with that, there's other tutorials on YouTube where people are doing this and they've done fuzzy edges and all sorts of things. So mask is one. Second is color correction. This isn't that great. I was expecting more Photoshop level kind of curves, levels, hue, saturation, brightness. So I've tweaked these a bit for this camera. I think they're kind of okay. Like if I put saturation up, whoa, that looks awful. I find a kind of nice balance there. But yeah, that's what color correction does. As I say, if I turn it on, Jesus, that actually start to think that looks better. Maybe I should turn it off. Then the last thing is this. This is the LUT. So you can do color grading inside OBS. If I turn that on, interesting. That doesn't look like it's doing any. I'm not sure I trust this. I'm not sure this is working. I did see it work yesterday when I set this up, but because I now have color grading in my pipeline, I might just delete this and let the pipeline do all the color grading, because that would color grade twice. So it would color grade my webcam in here, and then it would color grade the overall picture in the production pipeline. Turning it off won't be a bad thing because it will make OBS do less work. So it will make OBS use less CPU as it's recording, which isn't a bad thing. So if you look bottom right of the screen, you can see CPU for 5.3%. So it's a little bit of sweat, but not the end of the world. Like 5% is reasonable. It's not like I'm streaming videos and need every ounce of CPU possible. But point being, these effect filters are quite powerful. You can build up this kind of processing pipeline within OBS to do things. If I was against green screen, you'd do chroma key, and that would knock out the green screen. So plenty of people are doing that. And then you got all sorts of other things, crop, render delay, interesting, scaling, sharpen, could do sharpen, but I won't. So I'm pretty happy with that. What else? Audio. I've done some stuff on the audio. So again, I'm doing audio processing in my pipeline, but I'm also doing it in here. So I've set a couple of things up in here. Noise gate. I talked about this in one of the previous videos, and I think I incorrectly called this ducking. It's really a gate. So a gate is like if an audio dips below a certain value, it cuts it out. So that's working. That's definitely working. I think it's too severe. I actually got Claude to go, hey, optimize these settings for me based on the levels you're seeing in the meter down the bottom. I may turn this off and just do it all in post. So I'll just get a raw audio feed of me and then have my pipeline do all the audio sweetening rather than doing 2 lots. Limiter, it's working a bit like normalization. If you remember, I talked about that in part 2. But that's preventing peaks. And then compressor, it helps smooth out the volume levels. So if I go a bit quiet or I go a bit loud, it'll bring that all in, so I stay at the same volume level throughout. That's kind of important. Don't worry about sidechain ducking. That's more a music thing. I don't think you do too much of that with just voice like this. So yeah, a little bit of a processing chain on the mic feed, and then it's just a case of hit start recording, hit stop recording, which is over here. I won't do that now because I'm recording this video with this. Pause is useful, so I've used that a couple of times where I'm going, okay, I'm going to pause what I'm doing, wait for something so you guys don't have to, and then resume. But then the other thing that I was just playing around with under settings is the actual quality of the video that's coming out of OBS, because I noticed from my compression it's too compressed. Here's the setting, and it may not let me change it because of, yeah, here we go. So streaming, not interested in streaming, interested in recording. Can't change this because I am recording. Putting on my recordings there, I'm going to change that. I've made a new folder. Recording quality, high quality, medium file size. This is the thing I'm going to push up. So there's a one that will go near lossless. It will mean the video files are bigger, but that's fine. So I'm going to jack all these up so the record quality coming out of this is higher, and then my processing pipeline will have better source material to work with as it's going out. So this is important if you want to do this. Obviously, hard drive space is an issue for this. Audio's fine. This, I'll touch on this as well. Video. This is what I was talking about earlier with the screen. So the base canvas resolution on the MacBook is 34562234, but then I want to scale it down. So it's 1972 by 1276, which is not even correct HD, which will be 1920 1080. Not too worried about that at the moment. What I will probably do with the processing pipeline, given my setup is all going to be the same, I may well do like a cropping and do an overlay and get this proper 1920 1080. That's not actually much space. So the problem here is that these videos are taller than an HD resolution, because like that 1972 is almost 1920. 1276 is a good, it's almost 200 pixels more in height than a 1080p video would be. So that's like almost a banner that I could be doing something with. No, I'm wrong. Having said that, what would happen is it would crop. So the top of the menu, I think on my MacBook, I'd just crop that out, which is fine because I don't think that's something I'm ever going to need to show. The bottom I absolutely want to show. So where you've got stuff like CPU, status bars of VS Code, that's important information to share. But yeah, I'll have a play around with cropping later. But this is basically it. This is OBS. Once you're done, you hit stop recording, it spits out the file, and then for me it's straight into this pipeline. So yeah, that's how I've got OBS set up. A few things to tweak, but gives you an idea.